Not only are they cute, but they're safe.
Well, that's a whole stickety-pickety, isn't it?
I got these lamps on Facebook Marketplace. I think I paid $40 for the two of them. I think they're quite pretty. They're a nice matching set. They don't appear to be very bent. And the glass is in good shape. And just what I do when I take things apart, if I'm smart, which I'm not always smart, but I try to be, is I take a photograph of how they lay out, how I get it together from beginning to end. And I refer to that when I'm putting it back together, because even the simplest lamps or electricals can be quite confusing once you've done all the cleaning and rewiring and you want to put it back together. You can still be confused with just even a few parts. So there are several parts here. I'm just memorizing them with photograph so that when I go to put it back together, I will put it back in the same way. And I took a good look at this. Now, this looks pretty old and somewhat darkened. And what I'm going to do is but it works well. Everything feels nice and tight. And basically, it's a simple fixture as far as the way it works. I wouldn't expect to get much different unless I was buying a three-way, which I wouldn't do with this snapshot. And because it's a restoration of sorts, and I will show you what I'm going to do with the metal of the lamps. And when I'm doing a restoration, I try to get things back in the same condition as they were, hopefully when it was new, or somewhat like that, as much as I can. And I also like to use a little age, and not use a little age, but a little age actually looks pretty good. I want it to still look like these are antique fixtures, which would put it, in almost 1930, which I'm sure it's almost at least that old, this little set. It almost looks like it has been rewired at one time, but it must have been a really long time ago. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take down the other lamp, and I'm going to look at the electrical socket, and if it looks in similar condition, I'm going to try to get some alcohol and clean that off as much as I can, and then put that right back. So that might sound crazy to you, and you certainly can do it any way you want. It's nice to get new sockets for lamps, especially if anything looks frayed to you, if anything looks like it's really taking a lot of wear. Safety is the most important thing, even though you want to be historically accurate. If it's not safe, you don't want to use it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take apart the other one, and I'll do that off camera, and then I'll show you what we have. So I was right. These are two different sockets, and they're very similar, though. I don't think this is how they were made, with one different than the other. So what I'm going to do is I am going to get two new sockets. I will get them with a push switch, I think, or it depends. I'll let you know. Plus, when I took the second one apart, I could actually smell smoke. I don't know if it came from a fire house, or in other words, a house that was on fire, or whether it's cigarette smoke. It doesn't smell like cigarette smoke. It just it smells like smoke. And so if something had happened to these once, I don't want anything to do with them in the future. So it's an inexpensive replacement. I will get something that's aesthetically similar, and so we'll catch up at that point. Let's clean the other pieces for now, and I'll order 2 new sockets, and we'll rewire the lamps. I'm going to go ahead and give these a spray with some clear satin lacquer, and they're all cleaned, but they do tend to rust somewhat in the humidity, so this will help prevent that. So I got a few things, and I got 2 sockets with the hardware. I also got 2 hasps, 2 new electrical wires, and it's the fabric covered. They're a little bit thicker, kind of nice, old world looking. And I also got a few bulbs, and I have the shades, brand new shades for it as well. But I won't take those out yet. And this is the new socket. It's a aged brass look, and it's okay. I thought about putting metallic spray paint on so that I could get this worn spot a little bit better, but I'm not going to do that because I actually don't like the way spray paint works. Now, if I had one of those big sanding things that could literally take this finish off, that would work as well. But let me show you how I'm going to take care of the look of this. I have a really nice gold that I like. It's King Gold by Pebeo, and it's my favorite color that they make in gold. It's my favorite because it's nice and gold without being too overly bright. And you can see how nicely that just comes up. I'm not using enamel paint underneath it because if someone wanted to remove the wax finish, it would be so much easier than having to remove that paint to get down to the original metal and close to the original finish. So that's why I'm being sensitive to its history by not using the enamel paint this time. You can see how much better that looks than spray paint. It just looks so much more natural for an application like this. I don't have anything against spray paint, but on this type of application, that's what I don't want to use spray paint for. So this allows it to still show some of its age, which I just love. You can see the difference. Pretty good. Whoop! I got my arm in the way. I'm doing a voiceover because I broke my new microphone. Here, I'm just making sure everything is fitting back together the way I expect. It's really easy to forget to begin by going backward through the entrance hole on the side of the lamp. I can't tell you how many times I've just forgotten to do it and had to undo all my electrical wires and then bring it back through the right way. I'm going to leave this info here just to show you how to put the harp on to the lamp. But I didn't end up using it. I had to take it apart to the top below the harp to wire up without it. There should be nuts in your harp kit. If there isn't, stop what you're doing and get a few nuts because you're going to go nuts trying to get that harp to stay on. Guess how I know that? Because I thought it was me, something I wasn't doing. And of course, the harp needed a nut over the top of it, and I just didn't realize it. So here I'm just securing this nut, and I have to tell you that it was too bad because the lampshades didn't fit, and everything was ill-fitting, so I had to take it apart. Oh, look how big this is. That's not right. Oh boy. Let's fast forward through wiring up lamp number 2, but I will slow it down when it comes to making the connections so you can see exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so here we have the 2 wires, 2 lamps prepped for the wiring. And I'm just making sure everything goes back together. What you might have to do is what I did here. I made little loops on the ends of the wires so that they would curve behind the screw and stay on behind the screw. Right here I'm showing you the ribbed wire. One wire is ribbed. I think you can see it in the camera. The other wire is smooth. And the ribbed wire goes over the silver screw or negative hole there. And it's kind of tight, a little hard to work. You might want to undo more of that wire to make it easier for yourself. And that's fine. If you take it down too much, you might have to put some electrical tape on it or make a few loops to go underneath your socket. So let's get a little closer right here. That cane, that bend, that loop has to go behind that screw, and it's facing in a clockwise direction. That way when you turn the screw, it's going to tighten down on it. It won't unwire itself. So here I said righty-tighty. And you have to make sure that that screw is loosened as well before you try to put that loop over it. Make sure you loosen your screw. And if you need to loosen it more, loosen it more. That's what I'm doing right here. I'm loosening up on that screw. And the smooth wire is going over the gold screw or positive hole in the same direction, and that's when you tighten it back down clockwise. And that gets nice and tight over the wire. If you see that there's any type of wires showing, you might want to put a piece of black electrical tape on it. Truly, you don't have to, because these the sockets are made with a cardboard insert on the inside. But I'm just showing you that if you want to be careful, I'll do that afterwards, and I'll show you when we come to it. I add a little bit of black tape over either side. And so here I'm going to do the same thing. I find the ribbed wire, and I made a bend or a loop at the end of the wire. I'm going to loop that behind the silver screw after I have loosened the screw. Here is where it's handy to have a screw loose, by the way. And then you tighten clockwise, and it settles right down on that wire. Now we're going for the positive side. This is the smooth wire, and that loop, I have to bend it in a little different direction to get it on, but that's pretty easy. And you just get it behind that screw nice and tight, clockwise, and then when you turn it to the right, it tightens right down on the end of the wire. So here I'm just going to show you that I added a little piece of electrical tape. Just, it's overkill, really. You don't have to do that, but it won't hurt, and it will make you feel safer, and that's fine. So you can see how far that sticks up out of the top of the lamp. We're going to have to pull those wires back down before we snap the top into the base right there where I'm fiddling around. There we go. You can see I'm pulling away. And then when you get it sort of close, now you can press down hard. You might need to press down pretty hard. And it fits right in there. Here we go with the second lamp. I'm going to pull it nice and tight. And I'll bring it up closer so that you can see it. I'm going to pull that tight. And that's about as tight as you can get it. And then press it in. It's crimped around the edges so that it fits snugly once you get the top into the bottom. It'll make a little noise. There. And we snug that up on the bottom of the lamp. And it looks like I need to straighten that a little bit. I'm just checking the push buttons. I had to get different bulbs for the lamps because the clip-on shades, the clips are too small on the clip-on shades to fit over those big light bulbs. So what I had to do was I had to find a light bulb that had the same base, which is, I believe, a C26 or C27, that same size base that will fit in my socket, but have a smaller actual bulb at the top. And so I found them. They look like candles. They look like a candelabra bulb, but they have the larger base. And that way, when I get the new lampshades that fit, they'll clip on instead of using the harp. Now these sockets, these are the old exterior parts of these sockets, the old sockets. I'm not going to throw those away. I'm just throwing away the electrical part of it, but I'm actually going to keep those sockets because there's nothing wrong with them. And sometimes you may lose one or you may bend one out of shape and you just can't use it anymore. They're all pretty much universal in size. So yeah, I will just keep that in stock and use it in the future if I need to. Not only are they cute, but they're safe. Thank you for watching this week's video where you saw me take down and rewire two antique or close to antique boudoir lamps. And I thought they were beautiful lamps. I did look them up and I couldn't find a lot of information on them. In fact, I found nothing um, for an exact replica of what we see here. But it is, I want to say, I believe they are bronze with an iron inset in the bottom to keep them nice and heavy so they don't tip over. Beautiful hand-painted glass made in Czechoslovakia. And I ended up putting two new sockets on each lamp. And we used an E26 or E27. I think they both fit candelabra light in each lamp so that a clip-on shade would fit. A little fiasco on the first one. That's not right. Of ordering lampshades that would fit a harp, but they were way too big for the lamp itself. It was really funny. I think they came out pretty cute, and yeah, they're cute. They're bright enough. I want to say I chose a 40-watt bulb, but you could put a 60-watt in there. And yeah, we did the outside of the metal with gilding wax, which will come right off, with a little bit of wax remover. Should someone want to go back to the original metal, I chose not to use spray paint because I don't like the look of a metallic spray paint on this type of metal. I just didn't think it would be a good fit. And so it's not a true absolute restore, but it's somewhat of a restoration. And we made them safe. Everything is nice and updated, so you don't have to worry about using them again or causing fires. Absolutely have to be careful with electricity. So I'm not saying that you don't have to be careful, but you can do it safely. If you have any questions, never do anything by yourself that you're not sure of and get someone to help you. I've been doing this a long time, really, so I'm more comfortable doing it than I used to be. So thank you for watching this video. If you're interested in more lamp or electrical rewiring, you can watch a video here. And I'll put another one here or somewhere, and you can have your choice of watching something like that to see that it's basically the same each time you do it. And yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and I wish you all good and beautiful things. Take care. So cute.